Unless we see the right people charged with the right things and in cuffs, there will be no justice. All right? We can talk all day long about Doge and Tesla, but unless I start seeing perp walks, there's no justice. The streets of America are soaked in the blood of the innocent. And the man with the most blood-stained hands, Alejandro Mayorkas, walks free to this day, laughing in the face of justice, mocking the very laws he swore to uphold. He's off the hook until we stop him. This is not just a failure of our system. This is a betrayal of every hardworking, God-fearing American who trusted the government, perhaps stupidly under Biden, to protect them from the chaos unleashed by this so-called Secretary of Homeland Security. Think about this. I despise him. I see his face and I go nuts. Mayorkas, the architect of our nation's destruction, has turned our borders into a revolving door for criminals, cartels, killers, and yet he struts around Washington or wherever untouchable, while families still mourn their loved ones. And thank God, with Tom Homan and President Trump, we're going to get to the bottom of this. But what this guy did to exacerbate this problem, he has got to be brought to justice. Loved ones from people slaughtered by the very invaders he welcomed with open arms. Where is the justice? Where is his? We're talking about Tesla, and I understand that's important. And we're talking about, Epstein files, and that's important. Why isn't this guy cracking rocks upstate? Why? Same thing goes for Fauci. Where is the accountability? If we don't arrest this man and drag him before the courts to answer for his crimes, we've learned nothing. Nothing. Nothing from the carnage he's caused. And America will further spiral into this abyss, this chasm, this hole, this pit of lawlessness and despair. President Trump, remember, has to undo what he did. And he's laughing at you. Let's talk about the border, okay? Under Mayorkas' watch, the southern border became a war zone, a free-for-all where human traffickers and drug smugglers and murderers waltzed across like they were on a Sunday stroll. Over, 6 million apprehensions since he took office in 2021, and that's just the ones we caught? And don't forget the 1.5 million gotaways? Those shadowy figures who slip through the cracks, disappearing into our cities with God knows what. And these are the numbers that we think are correct. We think. You think he's going to give you the right numbers? Border Patrol stats paint a horrifying picture. Among those caught, there were the thousands with criminal records, DUIs, sexual assaults, even murderers. And what did Mayorkas do? He let them go. Released them into our communities to prey on our children. They're still there. We're not getting everybody. We're there to terrorize. They're to terrorize our neighborhoods, to shatter the American dream with their violence, their depravity. This wasn't incompetence. This was a deliberate, calculated assault on our nation's sovereignty, and Mayorkas was the ringleader of this treasonous circle. The blood on his hands isn't metaphorical. It's real. It's dripping. It's staining the very fabric of our country. May sound kind of corny to you, but it's true. Look at the stories that should haunt every American's nightmares. I'll just pick a couple. Deputy Mike Hartwick in Florida, struck down and killed by an illegal alien who had already been deported once, but slithered back into our country as a gotaway under Mayorkas' lax and pathetic policies. Or the countless children, 350, half a million? How many kids, unaccompanied minors? Over 500,000, 85,000 of whom the Biden administration has lost track of, maybe. Remember, when you hear these numbers, add on. These kids aren't just missing. They were trafficked, abused, forced into dangerous labor, all because Mayorkas refused to vet sponsors properly. Sponsors. The New York Times exposed the horror, revealing that children, New York Times, showing that children as young as 12 working grueling jobs in violation of child labor laws. innocent stolen. We don't even know who these kids were. They showed up. There's no birth certificate. You don't know who they are. And if they disappear or if they're offed, iced, eliminated, dispatched, there's no record of it. We don't know who they are. They were just, they're ghosts. They're brought in. I can't even imagine what happened to them. And the policies that allowed this, Mayorkas championed them. And he had the gall to stand there smirking, claiming the border was secure. Remember this? While the nation burned, this man violated every oath he took, every shred of trust. I'm not going to forget him. Don't forget him. Listen, America, don't forget him. When I heard Pam Bondi talk about, Teslas, okay, that's important after we get him. He abused his parole authority like a dictator, granting mass amnesty to entire groups of illegal aliens under the guise of humanitarian need, spitting in the face of Congress and you and law and order and the laws they wrote to protect us. The Immigration and Nationality Act demands detention of illegal aliens, but Mayorkas laughed at the law, released them into our heartland to wreak holy havoc. He paroled in refugees, asylees, economic migrants, you name it, anyone who caught his fancy, turning the U.S. into an open border wasteland where the rule of law meant nothing but a distant memory. And when he's called to account for his actions, what does he do? He lies. He lies to Congress. He lies to the Senate. He lies to the American people, claiming everything is under control. Everything was groovy. No problem. While fentanyl flooded in, killing hundreds of thousands of our sons and daughters, a crisis the Sinaloa cartel fueled with Mayorkas' tacit approval. The House saw through his deception. I mean, we saw him testify, I guess, but nothing happened. Jim Jordan and these others love to bring him in, and he just sits there. Doesn't bother him. I mean, they thought about impeaching him maybe for his refusal to comply. Impeach? That's not it. He was following Biden's rule to an extent, or following whoever ran the auto pen. They laid the charges out: high crimes and misdemeanors, a systematic assault on our Constitution, a direct threat to national security. But the Senate, spineless, corrupt Senate, no interest in this, acquitting him, letting this monster walk free to continue his reign of terror. Well, it's not too late. I don't care what Biden or the auto pen granted him a pardon for. There are new offenses. There are state charges. And people on X and others are screaming for his arrest, demanding that Mayorkas be held accountable for the blood he's spilled, for the lives he's destroyed, for the nation he's betrayed. And they're right. If we don't arrest this man and bring him to justice, if we don't drag him into a courtroom to face the full weight of justice, we're sending a message to every traitor in Washington. You can break the law, you can destroy lives, you can tear this country apart, and nothing will happen to you. Don't worry, just sit it out. The next one comes in, we'll just forget it. Enjoy your pension like Fauci. And that son of a bitch I want next. Mayorkas in particular, his legacy is one of complete deliberate failure, not negligence, deliberate failure, of chaos, of death. He's turned every city into a border city, every state into a battleground, where hardworking Americans live in fear of the next crime, the next overdose, the next tragedy caused by his open border insanity. The Chinese nationals pouring across, nearly 10,000 arrested since, who knows, last year, October of last year? Some with ties to the CCP, People's Liberation Army. That's just part of it. Mayorkas doesn't even bother to vet them. He just waves them through. Try doing that in China, potentially unleashing spies and saboteurs into our midst. This isn't about just somebody selling churros in the subway. This is serious. This is madness. This is a national security crisis of apocalyptic proportion, and Mayorkas is the puppet master, pulling the strings, laughing at you as America crumbles still under the weight. Things aren't okay now. We let me tell you something. We may have stopped new people. Do you think Tom Homan, bless his heart, has gotten rid of all these people? Hell no. Do you think the murderers and the rapists and the predators and the sickos and the traffickers, you think they're gone? What, are you kidding me? We cannot let this stand. The American people deserve justice. They deserve safety. They deserve a government that protects them, not one that sells them out to the highest bidder. And Mayorkas must be arrested. He must be tried. He must face the consequences of his actions, or he will have learned nothing from the horrors. And you have to teach the next brand of these people a lesson. The blood of the innocent cries out for retribution, for justice. The voices of the victims deserve and demand to be heard. And if we fail to act, if we let this traitor walk free, then America as we know it is doomed to collapse under the weight of lawlessness, betrayal, and the unchecked ambition of men like Alejandro Mayorkas, who care more about their radical agenda than the lives of the people they swore to protect. This time for justice, this time for some type of a way of addressing this. The time for justice is now, or we will all pay the price. And let me just say one thing very, very quickly. God bless President Trump. God bless Tom Homan. But don't think, remember at first it was great. They were going in and ICE was grabbing people, and then we moved on. Now, I hope that's still going on, but it seems like the cameras aren't there, so tell me it's still going on. Bring me the head, figuratively, of Mayorkas. I want him arrested. I want him in a perp walk. I want him in an orange jumpsuit. And I want him to be the lesson. I want people generations from now and say, watch what you do. Remember Mayorkas. Remember what they did to him. And what I want you to do for me is to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit this little bell and whatever this thing is to be notified of live streams and new videos. Subscribe to the channel and comment as you see fit.